Hello, in today's video we will see together what are SharePoint Web Parts. SharePoint Web Parts, in a very simple way, are pieces of a page that provide the user with either content or functionalities. It is the way SharePoint Online allows us to create pages within our communication portals, our intranet, any extranets, and so on. We can use web parts to display communications, display events, display documents, gather input from a user, and so on. There are some web parts that are free, which are available within SharePoint Online, thus in its default functionalities. Instead, there is the possibility to create custom web part components. This is the advantage of SharePoint, that is, having a base of ready-made functionalities and then being able to extend it to add and enrich the portal with all those functionalities that it does not provide by default. Sorry, I just wanted to introduce myself real quick and then I'll let you go ahead. I'm one of the Microsoft MVPs and I'm an expert in the technologies that revolve around Microsoft 365. So if you want updates on Microsoft's collaboration tools, the world of intranets, Microsoft 365 Copilot, SharePoint, Teams, and all the other tools, subscribe to the channel. Let's switch to my screen and see how to use these web parts within the page. What you see is a communication site. If I edit my page, I enter the page design mode where I immediately have the division of content into sections and in turn into columns. Each section can be divided into one or more columns, 1, 2, 3 columns, or 2 columns with a small one on the left and a large one on the right, or a small one on the right and a large one on the left. Within each column, there is the possibility to add a web part by clicking on this plus button. In this plus button, we find all the web parts that have been enabled within this SharePoint site to be used. You recognize the default ones of the product because they all have small icons with gray-black borders. So there is the possibility to add images, links, buttons, image galleries, YouTube videos, and content taken from a document library or from graphics, such as highlighted content and much more. Okay, if we go a little further down, when you find all those icons that are instead customized, meaning they have a different graphic from that of SharePoint, you understand that those are custom web parts that have been installed within your SharePoint site. In this case, you see these pink little icons are some of the custom web parts of Intranet AI, our solution for creating the intranet portal within SharePoint Online. To insert a component, for example, let's insert the quick links one. Just click on it. Once the web part is inserted into the page, as I said, the web part allows you to use functionalities or to insert content. In this case, quick links list allows me to add new links. To add a link, I can choose one of the contents that I have recently inserted into my site. Choose image type content that is on my OneDrive, or content that is on the web. I can even upload new content, new files, or I can create a quick link starting from the text. So I can write, for example, in this case, I put the link to bing.com as a search engine. By clicking on add, I have the option to modify the inserted link, so I can put bing.com in the title. And you see that all web parts have this feature of being updated in real time, so any changes I make to the content and functionalities are immediately visible on the page. In addition to this, there is the option to choose whether to open links in a new page and much more. All specific configurations for this single web part. The web part also has this sort of command area where I can either move the web part between the various sections of the page or open the pencil to edit the components configuration area, copy it, duplicate it, or delete it. The delete icon then starts the display configurations of the web parts slightly. In this case, the link web part allows me to choose between a compact view, which is the default, a view with a preview image, a sort of slider, a grid view, and a button view, depending on the view I choose in the configuration area. Additional functionalities are activated or deactivated. For example, if I choose the button, I can decide whether to have a fill color or not, and so on. All components are made this way, meaning that if I choose to add an image to the page, in this case, the image has as a mandatory content type an image. So I can select this image from the list of images provided by Microsoft, insert it on the page, and in addition to all the usual default options to move the component on the page, duplicate it, delete it, copy it, etc., I then have new commands for modifying the display. In this case, for an image, there is the possibility to resize the image, to crop it, for example, to display it differently from the standard view, etc. Each component has its functionalities. Let's take a quick look at them. There are components to engage users, the button and the call to action. There are components to divide the content on the page. This is a row and this is a space. Components for inserting links, single links, or groups of links. Link groups are very useful for creating internal menus on the page, for example. There are components to add videos from Stream or videos from YouTube. I also have simple components to insert text within the page. I think this is the most used web part in all SharePoint sites, that of inserting text. Here I can write, let's say, the text I want, and moreover I can format it and choose the size, the color, whether it's bold or italic, and so on, exactly as if I were writing text within Word. Besides this, there are all the components for displaying communications. There is the component specifically for communications, the events component to display communications related. To events, there is the organizational chart, and there is the possibility to display information about a colleague within the company. There is also the possibility to use not only the news component, but a component called IRO to present content in a more visually appealing way compared to the other components. So web parts allow us to add components, functionalities, and content within our SharePoint page. See you next time.